Tim Collins with Cullman today. I'm down with Rick Fulmer. He's the director of the Building, Planning, and Zoning Department from the City of Cullman. Rick, we just finished up a really lengthy planning commission meeting. It was fascinating. One of the main topics was of interest to me. It's the Special Events District. And I don't think everyone really knows what that is and what it's about. Would you mind explaining it in some detail for us?
Well, the Special Events District allows alcohol outside the different buildings where events are being held. The district is opened and closed by the council depending on the event that has to be licensed with the alcohol board and through the council. The district is not open at all times. It's only open during special events at the discretion of the council. And it allows people to move freely among the different areas of the events, such as Oktoberfest, Strawberry Fest, and a number of other events that are held downtown. There's been a lot of interest in expanding the district, so it's going to move from the 2 blocks now, which is the police department north, south to Rimmer's Deli. It's now going to extend all the way down as far as the Busy Bee Cafe to allow the big city parking lots to be used for special events. And again, those will be opened and closed at the discretion of the council. It has to be an event. It's not open full time. You can't wander up and down the streets with alcohol in your hand at any given time. It has to be during the special event.
Gotcha. Well, let's use a real-world example like that. Will help explain it better. Strawberry Fest, that was held a couple of months ago. A lot of people went to it. That goes from Depot Park by the fest hall and then down the shopping district. And if you went to that, you understood that there were people running around having fun. We're talking about, with this event district, simply extending that further to the south, correct?
That's correct. It will extend further south to what we call the Busy Bee Block. And there have been a number of events in the past that were held by the merchants down there in the city parking lots that have been very successful. And a number of them have expressed interest in adding some alcohol. Could be as simple as wine with a meal. So that's what the council is going to be looking at doing.
Now, I've had several people ask me, well, Tim, is this some kind of a big party barge thing? And I tried to explain to them the difference between what an entertainment district is and a special events district. You're talking about something that's one time, maybe a few times a year, sanctioned by the city council, very strict rules, short timelines. This is not an entertainment district, right?
That's correct. An entertainment district, most of those are on the outskirts of the city of Cullman. At this time, there's nothing in operation in the entertainment districts. Special events is a one-time event permit, which allows the folks at the event to acquire an alcohol license, and then the spectators at the event are able to move around freely with alcohol. It's restricted by the railroad on one side, and then extends across First Street on the other side and will go as far south as Busy Bee.
So ultimately, this really doesn't affect anything different from what we have now as far as the actual events themselves, the activities. It just makes the geographic area bigger.
Exactly, and there's a lot of expansion of downtown events. We've got several organizations beginning to hold events at night, and the council is going to determine whether this is a good addition.
Makes sense. Well, now we had a couple of people speak tonight in support of it. Randy Britt, former president, I think he's the existing president of the Board of Realtors. Ron Pierce, past president of the Downtown Association. They were all for it.
Yes, and of course we had some objections. There are some concerns, but the deal is that the city council ultimately controls this, and it will only be opened and closed at their discretion. And the police department has been very good about patrolling these events. I've spoken with the chief, and they've had very few issues at these events.
Well, and before I let you go, I'm going to talk a little bit about other cities. I'm from Asheville, North Carolina. I was on the part of the committees that made their downtown become what it is now. This was very common there. Once we figured it out, it was hugely popular and could be very well controlled by sanitation, by the police department. It worked great. You did a fair amount of research on this from the beginning, didn't you?
We did. When Oktoberfest began to serve alcohol, it was necessary that the area be contained. We were using a plastic fence. It was not very appealing. It really detracted from the event. And we looked at what they were doing in Huntsville. They were doing some things around Bridge Street and other areas that were developing. We looked at their ordinance. The council saw fit to give it a trial run. We did that with Oktoberfest. That's when the barbecue event was still occurring, and it worked out quite well. and we've had very limited problems. I don't think it's really changed the face of any of the events in that area for the worse.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, the bottom line tonight is it looks like the Planning Commission was positive on this. We'll move it on to the City Council for approval, I suppose,
The
right?
Planning Commission was supportive of their vote tonight, and their recommendation to the council will be to extend it. The ultimate decision lies with the council, and the enforcement of the ordinance will be from the police department. And they've been very good about patrolling the events, so I think it's going to work well.
Rick Fulmer, Director of Building, Zoning and Planning, thanks so much for talking to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tim.